Good morning, everyone, and I want to thank my colleagues for being here today. Today's markup reflects our bipartisan commitment to protecting Americans across our great nation from the rapidly evolving threats to our homeland and our way of life. I'm proud of this committee's continued efforts to enhance the Department of Homeland Security's ability to carry out its no-fail mission, defending us from threats both foreign and domestic. Now more than ever, the most pressing foreign threat within our borders is the Chinese Communist Party. As part of its malicious strategy to undermine American power and interest, the CCP has increased its influence over our institutions of higher education for decades. We must dismantle this sinister effort by Beijing to undermine our sovereignty. That's why Chairman of Counterterrorism and Intelligence Subcommittee, Representative Pfluger's bill is so important. H.R. 881 would restrict American taxpayer dollars from funding U.S. colleges and universities that maintain ties with the CCP. Both Beijing and the Iranian regime continue to carry out transnational repression operations on U.S. soil to threaten and harass dissidents. That's why we're considering several bipartisan bills today that will help policymakers assess, and counter threats from malign nation states that target American citizens or lawful permanent residents. This committee is also concerned by increasing sophisticated cyber attacks on our federal networks and critical infrastructure by Chinese-backed threat actors. We must protect our cyber borders. From our drinking water and oil and gas to our telecom networks, Beijing could wreak havoc on services Americans depend on every day. Believe me, the CCP will not hesitate to exploit our vulnerabilities, so we must be ready. I look forward to discussing Representative Ogle's bill that creates an interagency task force to improve coordination among the federal agencies responding to CC-backed cyber bullies' growing threats to U.S. critical infrastructure. This committee is also continuing its important efforts to prevent the tragic loss of American lives from deadly drugs like fentanyl. The Catch Fentanyl Act, introduced by Representative Higgins, would establish a pilot program to test technology enhancements to better detect illicit drugs, currency, and smuggled individuals at land ports of entry. We cannot forget the seriousness, the lingering threats posed by the border crisis. Under the Biden administration, DHS apprehended an unprecedented number of special interest aliens, or SIAs, illegally crossing our borders. These encounters included individuals from adversarial nations like China, Iran, and Russia. Representative Green's bill would require DHS to publish the number of special interest alien encounters each month and deliver much-needed transparency for the American people. Following the fall of the Assad regime in Syria and threats from both ISIS and al-Qaeda resurface in the region, we cannot turn a blind eye to individuals, both on and off U.S. soil, who are increasingly being radicalized to commit violence against Americans, including potentially unvetted individuals who illegally entered the U.S. during the last administration. That's why we are considering a bill led by Representative Luttrell to enhance DHS's counterterrorism efforts in evaluating the threat posed to the United States by individuals in Syria with ties to foreign terrorist organizations. In the wake of the New Year's Day ISIS-inspired terrorist attack in New Orleans, we must do more to address the rising threat vehicular terrorism poses to the homeland. Today, we'll also consider H.R. 1608, introduced by Representative Jimenez, the chair of our Transportation and Maritime Security Subcommittee, which would require DHS to more closely track and report to Congress on those emerging threats and countermeasures related to vehicular ramming attacks. I also urge support for the measures offered by my Democrat colleagues. I appreciate the opportunity to work with them with colleagues on both sides of the aisle to advance these bills out of the committee. Together, we can fulfill our duty to protect Americans from growing threats to the homeland. Today, we have a unique opportunity to make this country safer and more prosperous than ever. I hope all my colleagues on the committee help us push toward that objective today. I now recognize the ranking member to make an opening statement.